Okay, oops. No, we're good. We're good to go on both sides. So, hello and welcome. And send off my little message here. All right, coming into this time and space. The things are crazy out there. Lots of odd things coming up, showing up here and there like we never imagined. But here we are coming into being to provide us this space to come into that alignment, that deeper space for ourselves, because that's so important to find that, to have that, to come into that for ourselves. So here we are. So take a nice deep breath in. Hopefully you have a cup of tea with you or water. And Lydia, yay, here with you. Good. We like that. So if you're stopping in the chat, just do say hi. It's always nice to see who's there. So take a deep breath in, let it out, just let it all out. There's just kind of a lot of weirdness today, and wisdom happy, yay. We like being happy and we like wisdom. We like both, so good for being here. So let's let ourselves kind of just slow down a bit, reorient, shake it off if you're coming from somewhere else. And Caroline's joined in too. HKEKLPP. And we'll just accept that as hello. Yes. So very good. Yeah. Shaking it off. I mean, sometimes it's really good to do that. You just kind of like you see animals that are getting chased, and then when they're not being chased anymore, they'll stop and they'll just shake it off. So let's shake it off a little bit. Stomp it out if you need to. That's always good too. And taking a slow deep breath in, just allowing yourself to take a slow breath, like you're just drawing that air through a straw. And as you slowly breathe in, just noticing, that inflating of like the balloon, of your lungs and your body expanding out, and then holding it at the top for a minute. And then exhaling out. Yeah. Yeah, crazy news out there with some of the stuff. We thought it was just for the sci-fi movies, but unfortunately it's not. But we'll get through it. We will get through this. Might take a while or might not, but we will get through this. So kind of releasing any tension, any anxiety that's coming up. And it could feel like it's your personal life, and pretty much everybody here is a little bit more sensitive. So it's partly your personal life. It's partly the bigger picture. What's out there in the collective, what's out there in the cosmos. So slowing down. Hey, Cindy, good to see you. Just taking that breath and slowing down a bit, letting yourself kind of slow down and hop on in to the group. Yeah. A lot of concerns. Yeah. Whether it's for ourselves or for others or for what's going to come next. The only thing we can really be sure about is right here, right now, present moment. Feeling yourself slow down. And sometimes it gets really hard to slow down because we got these little things that keep coming up that kind of smack us in one direction or another. So feeling into that tension, bringing your awareness in down to your breath. So past that layer and into your breath. Notice the lungs. Focus on your backside as you're breathing. Let's do that, because that actually helps breathe deeper. Like focusing on your lower ribs, putting your awareness, and you can put your hands there, kind of like, putting your hands on the backside of your lower ribs there if you want. And feeling your body and your ribs pushing against your hands as the lungs fill up with oxygen and take up more room in your chest, and then contracting back in, coming into that kind of little floating feeling, just that expansion and that contraction. So kind of very soft and very gentle when we slow down. And keeping your awareness in that lower back of the ribs. Slowing everything down, yeah. When we start to slow down, if there's anything that's up, we're going to start to feel it more, notice it more. So just notice. That's a lot of times that's why we're kind of speeding up and kind of moving about quickly, jumping from one thing to the next, because we don't want to feel that, whatever it is. Yeah, so there's a bit of stress coming out. This is kind of a weird day, so I'm not surprised. Here we go. Yeah, coming into a little higher space there, moving everybody up to a higher space. See if you can feel the shift, been a little bit of a shift, but see if you can notice that somehow it feels a little different, a little lighter, a little more golden. There's a little bit of that golden quality coming in. And feeling more relaxed, yeah. Kind of easing up, like you feel your body can kind of just relax more. So let's bring. We did that 2 or 3 times back, and it feels like this is a good day to bring that back again. So first, just notice that there's a little bit more quietness there. You might feel like you're floating a little bit more. So I'll just kind of make sure everything's kind of grounded here. There we go. Yeah, that's better. And now let's just, kind of, we can drop the backside, the awareness on the backside, and just kind of be in the center of your chest with your breath. And if you get really core center, it's like this little, if you want to imagine it, kind of this little light that's at the core of your chest, at the center of your chest. And let's see, Lydia, kind of float back a little bit more towards your spine. Not much, but just, yeah, there you go. Let's see who else. Caroline, you look pretty good there, actually. Sydney, you want to come down out of your head. You're a little bit, you're up higher. So just kind of take a deep breath where you are, and then just feel your spine and let yourself just kind of go down, like slide down your spine until you're about mid between your shoulder blades, and then just come forward a little bit from there. It's a little bit hard for you to do. There's a lot of emotional stuff back there, but just do the best you can. That's good. You're kind of almost there. And let's see, wisdom happy. You need to come in your body. Yeah, so you're kind of right now. You're at least there's a little bit of this projecting yourself out of your body through your head, and that's not uncommon, unusual. And when you see people grounding, if you see them going like looking down, what is happening is they're grounding, so they're bringing their awareness out of their forehead. You know, that's that thinking in the front of the head there, frontal lobe area. And then they drop down from the front of their heads when they're looking down and ground that way. So that's a way of projecting yourself out, actually. So not that unusual. So and anybody else wants to do this, feel inclined to just help yourself get more centered. And if anybody else is on there, you want particular guidance like I'm giving everybody else, I just need to see your name up on the chat there. So wisdom happy, just put your hand on your chest or both hands and feel that movement of the chest underneath your hands. So bring your awareness there without needing to look at it relative to what I just said. And maybe you're not doing that, but just relative to what I just said. So notice if you're, for anybody who's just generally speaking here, if your head is looking down, just kind of like tilt it, bring it back up, and maybe tilt it up just ever so slightly, so it almost feels like you're going to be tipping backwards a little bit. And coming down into that awareness, into the chest, right underneath the hands. Yeah, and so it's almost like falling on a big pile of, or floating into a big pile of feathers into the heart space area. It might feel emotional. Well, that's all right. Letting yourself just kind of come into that space. And part of the emotional piece is not like emotions that's there that need to clear out, but it's more like emotion when you connect with something like you've been trying to for a while, and you can't, and then you're there, and it's like it just kind of brings these tears. And not, it could be tears of joy, it can also be tears of just feeling that lack of having not been able to be there before. So it's like you come into that alignment, and then it's like it really anchors in that sense of that lack of having not been there before, if that makes sense. Yeah, very nice. So I'm going to expand this out for people. Space out, yeah. Let's just stay here for a little bit because it's been kind of feels like it's been kind of a tough moment, however long that moment has been for you here. Let's just take advantage of being in this place of just soaking it in. And I got a little bit of a mixed group for the following, but we'll just include everybody here and whatever you need. But some people are, it's like, need to be more structured in their systems, and other people need to be more unstructured. So that's okay if it doesn't make sense, but structuredness and the unstructuredness are basically like two components of two forces, two aspects. There we go. That's better. Aspects of existence. Kind of like yin and yang, but just a different aspect. And we need both. We need that balance between both. There we go. Yeah, that's coming in for people. And it's in the way that you need it. So yeah, well, that's maybe a good place to be outside, you know? That's fine. Go find a tree or something. And that's fine if you have to keep moving. I mean, make that a meditative movement if you need to move. Just be and doing that by just becoming really aware of your movement and how your body is moving and feeling whatever part of you is moving, just becoming really aware of that, so that becomes kind of it becomes the meditation, really connecting more deeply, feeling your feet, feeling what your feet are touching, you know, and through your shoes, if you're wearing shoes, your socks, whatever. Feeling the air on your skin, feeling there's sunlight, there's, you know, whatever it is, feeling all of that. And that becomes a meditation, moving meditation. Yeah, this is sort of a really nice space of, I guess I would term it the Divine Mother. It's kind of hard to get into these terms because then you say something and there's so much history of that term being used that comes forward in people's minds in the collective, but just that pure essence of the qualities of what we associate with mother, of being held, of being nurtured. And fathers can bring that in too, so it's not about male or female, but it's that nurturing quality of, like, you know, if you imagine that loving embrace of an infant or toddler, and just being held that way. And nothing else, you know, just nothing else. Yeah, very nice. So here in this space, allowing yourself to connect with self. And it's just kind of like, all right, let's connect with self. That's the piece we did 2-3 sessions ago. I can't remember exactly. Yeah, staying with that awareness on self. Even with the little spider, the reaction, whatever, the chickens maybe for some of you in the backyard, whatever's going on. Yeah, just a nice kind of, it's like the hammock session, one of the hammock sessions, as I call them, when you're just in that deep space and just floating in that hammock, just back and forth, resting and relaxing more deeply, letting all that stress just drain out. Hi, Cheryl Lambert. God, I think you've been here before, but it's been a little bit. Thanks for stopping by. So we're in what I call the hammock session. I don't know if you heard me say that. So just taking a deep breath, settling in. We usually start about at 7. It's about a half hour from when you joined. Yeah. So just allowing that stress just lifting away, lifting off, and just being kind of swept away. Cheryl, that knows Jubilee, or a different Cheryl? I have no idea. Cheryl, do you know Jubilee? I don't know. You guys are both on YouTube, so I'm not sure. So you may notice that, as you kind of disconnect from the stress and let that shift. So that's a yes, wisdom, happy. I don't know if you can see if you're on your phone. If you know, it's like when you come into a deeper alignment for yourself, and it's like the more you allow yourself to slow down and connect with yourself more deeply, and the stress just kind of releases out. And as the stress releases out, just coming into that place of feeling stronger within yourself, feeling, it's like kind of having a cleaner sense of self and a cleaner stability for yourself. And then things just feel a little bit more doable. So real important right now to keep coming back to this place, whether it's, you come here or you, or, just doing it on your own, at the end of the day or in the middle of the day or whatever. Just kind of take a deep breath in, come into your breathing, notice your breath, notice your body, the movement of your body with your breath. It's as simple as that. Sometimes it takes more. You need to do that for more than just a breath or two. And you realign yourself. It's like, okay, we can get through this, whatever this is. And we're not too busy trying to figure it out, because we won't be able to figure it out. Things that are coming, the things that we are facing these days, we cannot figure out, because there's no game plan for one. Not for this kind of stuff. And things are fluctuating very rapidly, so it looks like we're heading one direction. All of a sudden there's just a 45-degree angle bend, and we're off in a different direction, in a heartbeat. So the more aligned and the more centered you are with yourself, and you come into that place within yourself, those bends will happen and you're still in alignment, because it's happening around you, but not within. So it's like, it's like that center spoke of the wheel, and the wheel's just turning around it. So you got to be in that center spoke for yourself as much as you can, and keep bringing yourself back, so that everything's just spinning around you, and It can be merry-go-round just going nuts and going really fast and people falling off and, all sorts of things happening, but you're there centered. And right now, let's take a nice deep breath in from the core of the earth, the new earth. Yeah. Oh. And feeling where you're at now, because that's a lot closer to center. There's always this continual getting more and more centered. The higher up you go, the more and more you get, more precise that gets. But feeling that in this moment, because this is what it feels like, especially relative to before you came on, beginning of the call, where you were and where you are now. And let's just anchor that in a little bit more strongly for people. And it's all relative to, so this is like individual, so it's all relative to where you were before, or where you have a tendency to be. Some have a little bit of resistance to that alignment because they're not used to it. When you've been in a place where you're used to being really out there and just uncentered, coming into center alignment can feel really off, and so that they can be a little like, whoa, this doesn't feel right, because it's counter to what you're used to. So just taking a deep breath in, hold the breath, release, and yeah, there we go. Very nice. Very good. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything specific that comes up. Okay. One thing. We'll see what else comes up. But one thing is, we are taught and we are learned, we are reinforced with the notion that we've got to help other people. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't. It's about how we do it. And what's important to do when we are assisting other people is first come into being that place for ourselves of really, dealing with a lot of stress lately. Yep. So good for showing up then. Good for you. Take a deep breath into that and just let it out for right now, at least. You're still feeling some, but anyways, the first thing for helping anybody else or trying to assist other or give them directions or whatever is to come into that center place for ourselves with relative to whatever's going on for us and relative to whatever is getting triggered by that wanting to help. So it will trigger a lot. There's a lot of programming that pushes us into doing it, but for the wrong reasons. Will get you to heaven, right? Right? Isn't that a common one? So that center alignment, and the reason for that is because at spirit level, the most important help we can do for another person is what's going on at spirit level, because that help basically is in that forever space. And what I mean by that is that what changes at that level, sort of like that's forever. Helping that person out in the moment with what's going on the human level, that's just in this 5 minutes of life, and whether those 5 minutes are 5 minutes or 5 years, whatever, but it's just that 5 minutes of life. But that will most likely, oftentimes, will not add up to that spirit level. So when you hold yourself into that alignment for yourself, that will give that person at that level a sense of, it's like, oh, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Look at me. But that's basically at spirit level. That's what you're saying. It's like, look at me. This is how it's done. This is the way you want to be. And then the spirit level, it's like, oh, it might not translate right away to human level, because it's like there could be these incredible amount of layers of mud, of caked and packed in mud, that's between that spirit level and that human level, that it's got to filter through. And so that's the most important thing. I'll get to some of these comments later. We've got some great comments here on the YouTube side. And the other piece to remember is that what tends to happen, and I know everybody, we've all experienced this. When somebody wants to help you, they're like, come on. And they're like, you got to do this. You got to do this. And you start to kind of feel like you're back against the wall, even if they're well-intentioned, and it's like, okay, I got it. Yeah. And they keep like, okay, keep insisting. And you're getting more and more backed into the wall. And pretty soon you're saying, like, get the hell away from me. Leave me alone. Right. So it's delicate. It's a delicate process. So the first foremost, the most important thing to do is that alignment. And then just checking in with ourselves. It's like, okay, what's my motivation here? Digging deeper, because there's always that first level of that we're responding from, that we are aware of, but then there's all these different layers, like I brought up religious programming that's there, and because it's used to control people. That's why I'm bringing that up. So dealing with a lot of stress lately. Yes, there's been a lot of stressful things in the ethers. That it's been very it's been all over the place this whole year for a while now. So and there are those, really noticed, with certain cosmic events, planetary events. All of a sudden it can kind of feel that. So stirring things up more personally. So yeah, let's see. Nonstop helping my roommate. She's so disabled, making me nuts. Yeah, part of the making you nuts is that you are conscious of the fact that you were there yourself. What did you say about control? Say again, please. Okay, I'll see if I can remember. Lots of yawning, so that means there's just kind of more, your system needing more, and kind of in a place where it can kind of take in more control. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I was talking about, I think, probably the easiest thing will be to go re-listen to this. So because I was talking about just helping out. Well, the piece, the religious programming. A lot of what we learn through religion is just something that gets used to control people. So helping others. You get to go to heaven if you help others and you are good. Well, let's separate those two out, because first of all, the notion of heaven and hell, because there's this assumption that if you go to heaven, well, there's got to be this other place that's hell. So we got to kind of ask ourselves questions. That's going to depend on the paradigm you believe in. I don't believe in that, and it doesn't add up. And I also don't accept it because it's clearly used to abuse and control people to make them behave a certain way. So kind of like little kids, right? It's like, no. And this is not the piece about do we help others or do we not help others? This is the piece of, coming from this deep alignment to yourself, this deep alignment to your spirit, all of these things that we are supposed to do. A lot of these things, it's like, it's obvious that, no, we just don't do this. We don't need these laws to tell us, these paradigms to tell us, this programming to tell us this is how you're supposed to behave. Because when you get to a higher level, a higher state of being, a higher state of consciousness, that becomes so obvious that you are living it. You're not thinking it, you're living it. And helping people, it's about, in the higher sense, it has to do with supporting them in a way that will direct them towards being in a higher state of being for themselves. So that doesn't always look like, at the human level, like helping. Sometimes that means you have to say no to people. Sometimes you have to say, you just back away and you just stop talking to that person because your action is triggering this unfoldment. It's about whatever you do, triggering this unfoldment that leads the person forward into a higher state for themselves. So it's not always what we think it should look like, or what we learn that it should look like. Anything else? Let's see. Yeah, the other piece that's just popping up is look at your preferences. It's good to look at preferences, at why we don't like something or we like something. Because most often that like or that dislike comes from an experience in the past and not from the moment. So there's a way that we turn away from something that needs to, that's good for us, because it's like, well, I don't like the look of that. That person looks weird. I'm not going to talk to them. And it's actually triggered by something else that's back there. So anytime we have a bottom line, a kind of thing is, anytime you have a reaction, either a strong reaction for or against something, you kind of want to question that. It's like, okay, what's going on here? And that's actually a way that you need to do something is either you're going, it's like somebody says something, it's like, oh, that's not me, hell no, it probably is you. Or you're saying, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, totally, that's another indication that that's you. If you're absolutely completely neutral and you're going, oh, that's an interesting thought, that's when it's you're not in that. My Wi-Fi keeps going out. That's okay, the Wi-Fi's out, but you're still on. I have to watch the replay, although went deep and cleared some people out of my space again. Good. Yeah, that's okay if the Wi-Fi's in. We're all here. We're all still plugged in because we're plugging in beyond the Wi-Fi, right? So good. That's great. So anytime, yeah, I can't tell you, that's happened to me where I go, oh, I'll never do that, right? Oh God, that's like, that's so not into that. And it's like later, and it could be years later. It's not necessarily right away. You're like, oh God, yeah, I remember I said that, so things that I thought were totally crazy that people were saying, it's like, oh, here I am talking about this as if it's my experience. Okay. So just to keep that in mind. And This is all about just refining ourselves and becoming more of our highest expressions. Yeah. Okay. I'll bring up my little QR code for anybody who's watching now or later. If you'd like to make a value donation, there's my little QR code that you can scan and pop over and give a little value donation for the value you feel you've gotten out of this. So, and you're welcome to stop by my website, check out if you haven't yet. I think everybody here is pretty familiar with me already, but if you watch later and you're not, do feel free to stop by my website, check it out, check out my work, and if you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out. And so that's it for today. How's everybody doing? I think that's a nice, restful space to be in. I also have to wait a little longer than I think, just make sure there's no comments coming in, because I think there's a few seconds delayed. Feel more relaxed. Good thing you showed up then. Just chill out from that stress a little. And let's keep it moving beyond this space. Just coming back into the breath. So after we get off, just kind of keep coming back into your breath. Feel your breath. You find yourself, it's like kind of going off a little bit. Okay, stop. Kind of just stop wherever you are. You know, if you're walking, just kind of stop for a minute. Focus on your breath. Get recentered and keep moving. All right, very good, you guys. Until next week, same time, same place, 7 p.m. East, Central European Time, 1 p.m. Eastern, and I don't know the time elsewhere. Stop on by. It's good to have you all stop in. Yes, need this even for a few minutes. Yeah, we all do. You know, we all do. So thank you. You're welcome, and thank you all for stopping by. Well, take care, and we'll see you next time, or in the ethers, wherever.